Black Adam is here to change the hierarchy of power in the DC Universe, but how will he change the rankings of their theatrical releases? BD here with Black Adam now officially playing in theaters. It is time to rank the DC Universe's movies, and this is a list based exclusively on the theatrical releases of 11 movies, starting with 2013's Man of Steel and running through 2022's Black Adam. Make sure you're subscribed to the Comicbook.com YouTube channel and watch our interviews with the cast of Black Adam after you watch this video, of course. And let's jump in to some DC Universe rankings. At number 11, we have 2016's Suicide Squad. Now, I do believe a better cut of this movie exists somewhere, but it wasn't in theaters. Once you get past the excitement of seeing so many cool characters together in one live-action film, you can process the fact that it feels like the studio only seemed interested in having the Joker there for marketing purposes. The third act is clunky and senseless and all over the place, and it all just doesn't really need to exist the way it does. That said, Will Smith's Deadshot and Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn were both great, but they were ultimately in a choppy film with a bunch of other underserved characters.
Thank you would be nice.
At number 10, I have Justice League. The theatrical cut of Justice League opened up on the now infamous de-stashed Superman, and that sets the tone for this one. Much of what Zack Snyder did is still present in the film, providing some visual highlights and shreds of a good story, but the Joss Whedon do-over undercut the much more exciting and cohesive story that Zack Snyder was telling. Steppenwolf really never felt like a threatening villain, and Darkseid never even got a chance to come into play, so seeing all of the DC heroes together in live action for the first time was not enough to make this one very good at all in the long run.
You overestimate yourself.
At number 9, I've got Wonder Woman 1984. The follow-up to the first Wonder Woman movie had some all-time anticipation, but it decided to focus more on trying to look like it was filmed in the 80s and bringing Chris Pine's Steve Trevor back than it did on telling a compelling story. Pedro Pascal's a phenomenal actor, but as Max Lord, along with Kristen Wiig's Cheetah, never got the depth necessary to serve as memorable villains, and overall this movie was just forgettable as a whole.
Why are you doing this?
Number 8 is where you can find the theatrical cut of Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, not to be confused with the extended Ultimate Edition, which would be much higher on this list. Batman vs. Superman's theatrical cut felt like a rushed cash grab to get the two biggest superheroes to fight each other, sprinting into Doomsday, killing Superman, which we saw in a trailer, and it all happened before we had a chance to really care about what was going on or fleshing out Lex Luthor's plans entirely. Still, that opening sequence with Bruce Wayne seeing Zod vs. Superman, that was an epic way to start the movie, but overall the theatrical cut didn't deliver throughout the rest of the runtime.
Have a bad history with freaks dressed like clowns.
At number 7, and this is where things start to get into the more positive review area, I have Birds of Prey. Ewan McGregor's performance as Black Mask alone deserves all the praise, but this one never got me fully invested in some of its humor or the rescue of Cassandra Cain, even though I did love newcomer characters, especially Black Canary, and Harley's prison escape scene was epic. It was entertainingly vicious in its violence, but was a little indulgent on its tone in a way that didn't really appeal to me, but does show me why so many others loved it more than I did.
You are so cool.
Number 6, Aquaman, one of DC's most visually impressive films done mostly through computer graphics, earned $1 billion for a reason. James Wan really brought Atlantis to vibrant life with an interesting story of Arthur Curry being pitted against Orm in a really nice family feud story. And even though he was already Aquaman going into the movie, it still felt like a solid origin story for Arthur Curry. Black Manta was underused and the movie ran a little too long, but we got to see an octopus playing the drums, and overall this one was very entertaining. Number 5 is where I have the newcomer, Black Adam. Black Adam was very uneven for me. It had some epic highlights, like the action specifically, especially Teth Adam versus Hawkman up in the air, and Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate was awesome. But it also had some pretty weird choices like the zombie skeleton army for seemingly no real reason, some clunky dialogue, and not as much emotional payoff as the script seemed to be aiming for at times. The cast in this one was phenomenal. I think Dwayne Johnson is perfect as Black Adam, and it made me more excited for sequels with these characters. And the movie was at no point short of hugely entertaining, even if it was far from perfect.
Nothing but heartache.
Number 4, The Suicide Squad. James Gunn's bloody DC flick seemed to have some of the self-awareness Black Adam and Aquaman may have been lacking, introducing a slew of hilarious new characters and giving each of them, well, except Weasel, R.I.P., their time to shine. The rivalry between Bloodsport and Peacemaker was great, especially when they were competing for kills. This version of Harley Quinn was a ton of fun. Polka Dot Man made us care, and King Shark looked awesome. Overall, a very good film.
Well, that's kind of our thing.
Number 3, Shazam! Shazam was an unexpected hit for me. Zachary Levi plays a great kid-turned-god in this one, and the entire family dynamic, the struggle of being a teenager versus a superhero, learning how to be a superhero, and everything about this one is just a blast, including the horror sequence that director David F. Sandberg packed into a conference room scene. Shazam is one of the best films the DCEU has released in theaters, in my opinion.
It was crazy, man!
In the number 2 spot, I have Wonder Woman. This one is clearly one of the best DC movies and comic book movies in general. Gal Gadot's full movie as Diana Prince solidified her as a badass superhero, showing what it was like to get acclimated to the world outside of Themyscira and truly cementing itself as great with the No Man's Land sequence, as well as showing the humanity of a superhero like Diana and what it is like to fall in love as such. Honestly, this movie might have taken the number 1 spot for me had the third act not gone a bit off the rails, but it did, and it's still excellent.
Above average.
The number 1 spot for me goes to Man of Steel. This one wonderfully explores the birth of Superman quite literally in the first scene, but also in everything that stands for. While I don't fully agree with some of the story choices in this one, I appreciate what Zack Snyder was going for in showing how important it was that Clark Kent keep his identity a secret and how difficult it was for him to make the choice to kill Zod, knowing it was truly his only option to stop more death and destruction from occurring. It's visually tremendous, the first flight scene is incredible, the score is impeccable, and Henry Cavill, he's brilliant as Supes. So overall, I just love Man of Steel.
I can do things that other people can't.
How terrible is my DCEU theatrical ranking compared to yours? Share your ranking in the comments section and send it my way on Twitter at BrandonDavisBD. Please keep it friendly and head over to Comicbook.com/DC for more updates, exclusive interviews, and more. I'm BD. I'll see you there. P.S. Zack Snyder's Justice League did get a one-time theatrical release, and honestly, it belongs in the top 3, if not number 1. Shh.